It's finally here. I've been so excited about this for so long. It was the first thing I thought about this morning when I woke up.
I know.
So excited.
So, hello, everybody. Welcome to Candidly Speaking with Chelle and Kelle. I'm Kelle.
I'm Chelle.
And we are ecstatic. We love our British edition of the Candidly Speaking show. You know, last week we had
we had Mr. Kelly.
Steve Kelly.
And he was wonderful. And we have our friends from across the pond all month long.
Mm-hmm.
But tonight we have the man himself. So excited. And we want to be very respectful of his time because he is in England and it is midnight there. So, and they're all so gracious to stay up for us. So we appreciate that.
That's why we'll skip our little chit chat, except to tell people to subscribe.
Absolutely. Please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, hit like and subscribe. And we're so happy that you're joining us. So if you could let us know where you're watching from, and if you're watching the replay, which most people do, please put hashtag replay in the comments. Let us know where you're watching. We would appreciate that so much. So let us know about our sponsors, Kelle.
Our sponsors are Blue Sky Video Productions, Bruce Himmelblau, our producer, who allows me to show up 3 minutes before the show and still have it look like we're all pulled together. So I love Bruce. And if you need a YouTube strategist, he's your man. He's your guy. And he, like I said, he makes this show seamless. We have Goodwin Graphics, Ronnie Goodwin, cottonfeelsgood.com. He is doing a great, maybe we can find the link for it. He's doing a t-shirt fundraiser for Ukraine, and it feeds the families of Ukraine. So if anybody out there knows that link and they can type it in the comments, that would be great. So let's help him. I think he wants to get, he has a goal. He's at $8,000 right now. So we just need to help push him closer to that goal. And Cards That Wow, that's me. And I create wow moments for people and brands. And I do that by making handmade note cards, corporate branded gifts. And I'm real excited, a new tiara series. Look out. Ever since I had our beauty queen on the show, I've just been obsessed with tiaras and crowns. And
she wants to wear it every show. She does. She's always like, should I wear my tiara? I was like,
today I almost wore my curlers.
Almost. Yeah, just in the nick of time, those things came out. Okay, so y'all, I got to tell you who we have tonight. Down because there's so much to say, and I've got to say this quickly because we need to get him on here. We have Michael Heppell. Michael Heppell teaches people how to be brilliant. He is really, I think, suffice it to say, one of the most brilliant people alive today on the face of the earth. He is an author. He has 7 bestsellers, one of which is a Sunday Times bestseller. And he was explaining to me before the show that a Sunday Times bestseller is their equivalent to like a New York Times bestseller. It's what they have over there. We're not talking like an Amazon bestseller, which, he has. I wanted to bring all of my books here today, but that did not happen. It's pouring rain in Louisville. I did not want to do that, but I've got them all. They're fantastic. He is a coach. He is one of the top 3 speakers in the world. The world. Not in the United Kingdom, not in Europe, the world. Okay.
And he's here.
Just an absolute delight. So please have your questions ready. Again, we do want to be respectful of his time, but please join us in welcoming Michael Heppell.
Hey! I thought I'd bring my own sound effects just in case.
You know, you don't understand what fangirls you're dealing with here, Michael. I mean, we're groupies. We are big time groupies. We
had to talk before the show and remind ourselves that we're the hosts and that we can't just sit there and listen to you and take notes.
Yeah. We need to ask you questions, not just listen and be in awe.
Well, do you know, I have to say, of all the introductions that I've had, Michelle, that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was so hoping you were going to say brilliant. Thank you.
Of course, there was only one tiny error. It's just that you said that my book Flip It was a Sunday Times bestseller. It was a Sunday Times #1 bestseller.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's when you get to #1, even though it was only there for 1 week, you take it.
You need to say it. You're right. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. That's right. You all get that book.
What are we going to? That's the one. Yeah. What are we going to chat about then?
Well,
we have a little surprise for you.
We do. Ooh. We do. So, you want to go first, or should I?
Well, so during your interviews, I remember when you interviewed me, or this 17 minutes with you get 1 minute and 17 seconds, and ask them questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, don't say you're going to do that.
We're going to do it to you.
Oh no! I don't want to be on the receiving end. I prefer to give it out.
Well, do you have 17 questions for us?
Well, no.
Okay, we're ready. We have them.
Oh, you've got your 17. So for those people who don't know, we do something called 17 minutes with, and it's my kind of version of this show, but without the same sort of wonderful, crazy energy. And we always ask the people who are guests, we ask them 17 questions, and they have to see if they can answer them in 1 minute and 17 seconds, which is really hard because everybody starts off really well, and then suddenly they start to overthink it. Mm-hmm. Rather than just saying what comes into their heads. And I sit there just asking the questions, having a little laugh. Suddenly, I'm thinking, shoot, I'm about to be on the receiving end, and it's really hard. Sorry, it could be easier. Let's use positive language.
Okay, so we have a timer that Bruce made for us. And then, Michelle, we're going to rotate questions. We're just going to shotgun you.
Yeah, I'll go first because mine's easy.
Okay.
I mean, well, my starting question is easy. So, Bruce, you want to put up the timer?
You've got to ask them quickly as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So as soon as you finish, we shoot with the next question.
Yeah, I should have brought my glasses, but I got them. But Bruce, you have the timer?
This is great. Are you? Oh, I don't know. There we go. Sorry, that was me talking over it. We do a countdown. We go 3, 2, 1, then go.
And then the timer goes. Oh, we know it. Yeah. No, start it over.
But not yet.
He needs all the seconds he can get. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
ELO or Queen?
ELO.
What motivates you to be brilliant?
My wife.
What did you dream of when you were 17?
Leaving the job I was in.
If you could have dinner with any 3 people, who would they be?
Michelle, Kellen, and my wife.
What keeps you grounded?
My wife. Gosh, she's featuring a lot.
Your favorite sandwich? Don't say your wife.
No, chicken.
What instrument would you like to play?
Synthesizer, keyboards.
Best smelling place you've ever been?
Is probably southern Spain.
Your first date with Christine?
Was at the Star of Siam restaurant in Newcastle.
Would you rather cook or wash the dishes?
Cook.
What is your greatest achievement?
Positively influencing 1 million lives.
The song that makes you happy?
Happy by Pharrell.
What makes you instantly happy?
My state change.
What's your superpower?
Being able to help other people change.
Do you find the accent from the southern United States attractive in women, Michael?
Yes.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
Oh, have you lost weight?
That's it.
Is that it? Did I do it?
You did it.
Woohoo!
You did it.
You had seconds to spare too.
Like 2.
Oh my goodness.
That was good.
Now
that was really good.
Now do I have to confess that some of those ones probably weren't 100% accurate, but I just did it really quickly.
That's
like a chicken sandwich. Nobody just wants a chicken sandwich, do they? But if I did the full description of my perfect sandwich, we'd be here all night as I go through the various layers.
Okay, does it involve olive oil and oregano?
Oh, obviously, we call it oregano because we're British.
Oregano, sorry.
Potato, oregano. What do you call it?
Oregano?
Oregano.
Am I saying it wrong, Michelle?
No, oregano.
Okay.
Well, it's no, it doesn't. Sorry to answer the question. But anyway,
I don't know the
impressed.
timer going.
I thought I did really well there. I was very proud of myself.
You did. You
It
did.
looks like Brian Monahan loves the ELO answer.
Yeah, it says ELO is the best answer. ELO actually is the only answer. ELO would be the answer up against any band, really, as far as I'm concerned, with the exception of Michael Heppell. You and I share a love for Snarky Puppy.
Oh, God, I love Snarky Puppy.
I do too. Now, okay, are you also a Lucy Woodward fan? Have you ever seen Lucy Woodward with him?
No, I haven't, but I know she's brilliant. But Snarky Puppy
is brilliant. I have met her several times. She is amazing.
Wow. Now, Snarky Puppy, the thing that's so brilliant with them is obviously they are incredibly talented.
Oh,
but every time you see them as a different lineup. I mean, you've got obviously the main ones.
Yes.
But after that, sometimes you're going to have different percussion people.
Right.
You're going to have different people on keys. You have different people on the brass section or whatever.
Yes.
The last time I saw them was at the Royal Albert Hall in London, which is one of the most incredible venues in the world. And I was there with a person who became a really good friend of ours who started off as a coaching client, a guy called Jamie Waller. And we were in a box and we drank champagne and we watched Snarky Puppy in the Royal Albert Hall.
Wow.
I'm so jealous. That would be amazing.
Perfect.
Absolutely amazing. Perfect. And those of you who are watching, I really almost want to say that probably Michael and I may be the only people who are familiar with them. I don't know. Maybe not. But please check them out and check out Lucy Woodward. She is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The ELO Queen thing. Now, why did you ask that question? Had I referenced that somewhere at some point?
Yeah. You referenced that on your top 17 albums that you thought everyone should listen to, but that they probably wouldn't. Out of the Blue, to me, Out of the Blue is one of the best the best pieces of music ever written. I love Jeff Lynne. I would run off with Jeff Lynne in a moment. I'm sure he's older than my father. Absolutely brilliant man.
Now, have you seen the 17 minutes with interview with Michael Owen?
I have.
Yeah. Well, in there, we had that moment where we both told the same lie when we were kids that we pretended we'd been to see ELO live. Now, I've never met this guy. I've only ever just done an interview with him. And he told me this lie that he told to try and be friends with the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that is really weird because I told exactly the same lie when I was about 12 and he was about 12 as well.
Yeah.
What's that about? What are the chances of us both randomly going, I went to see ELO at the NEC in Birmingham in the late 70s.
Absolutely adore them. Yeah, because I think, Michael, once upon a time I did some math, and I think you and I are maybe the same age. And
well, you look about 35.
As do you. So we're just going to say that's it.
That's exactly what it is.
That's right. And but yeah, I just adore them. Absolutely adore.
All's good.
Listen to a little bit every day.
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you? The obvious answer is Queen, of course, because when you ask that question, but I think it is almost too obvious. And I do love Queen. And my very first band I ever saw live was Queen. This isn't a lie. It was definitely true. And it was in the Newcastle City Hall, which is a venue that seats about 2,000 maximum, probably about 1,600 maybe. And it was the last time Queen did small venues on a tour. I was in seat DD32. They started and they came on stage and played Let Me Entertain You. Freddie Mercury ran on, jumped off the top of his piano. The stage exploded. I stood on my chair and went like that for 2.25 hours.
Wow.
Best gig ever. It was amazing. So you do your best gig ever when you're 11 years old, and after that, where else do you go?
Right.
The bar has been set, and it's very hard to reach.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Where do you go from there?
But I used to want to be a rock star myself for that very reason.
Really?
Yeah. and I was in a band, and nobody's heard this story, so I'm just going to tell you, this is an exclusive because we're just chatting. So I was in this band called Stage 2, and we were doing okay, not brilliant, but okay. And then we got a chance to be in a competition, and we didn't win the competition. We came second, but one of the judges was a promoter, and the promoter said, I want to represent you. I want you to work with you. And we're like, all right, okay, great. So what do we do? So I'm going to give you one gig, and if it works really well, then after that, I want to sign you. And it was like, oh, brilliant. So we'll do this deal, we'll do this. Goes to all these different things that he wants to do with us. And the gig was supporting a band called Madness. So in the UK, Madness were really big at the time. And it was this big festival. And there was us and a band called Doctor and the Medics. And then it was Madness. And we went on and we really did a great job. I mean, it was stadium size. There was about 20,000 people there. And we were getting everybody going. We did all this stuff. And we came off stage and he was like, this is brilliant. He says, I want to manage you. I want to do this. We want to do this. Blah, blah, blah. Went through the whole thing. And he said, I've got this idea for a tour around the UK in an open top bus. And he says, and you'll pull in these different cities, and then we do a gig in the open top bus. And then we can, and then we go to the next place and we do that. And that's how we're going to promote your first single. And we were like, oh, wow, this is amazing. This is really exciting. We should definitely do it. And then one of the guys in the band, there was 3 of us, he said, can I just stay in the north of England? He goes, no, you have to move to London and we're going to have to do this tour. And he went, yeah, but can I get back for weekends? I went, no, we're going to be doing gigs on weekends. He said, I need to think about it. Well, me and the other guy, we were like, we're in. We definitely want to do it. He said, no, I need all 3 of you. It's either all 3 or nothing. So we had to turn them down. And instead, he signed a band called the House Martins, who got a #1 single a few months later with Happy Hour. Fatboy Slim, Fatboy Slim, the DJ, he was in the House Martins. They went on, they did a Beautiful South, all these amazing things. And that's it could have been me. But it was probably good that it wasn't.
I'm personally glad that it wasn't.
Did good, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm personally glad that it wasn't, because you have impacted my life in an amazing way.
Yeah, but you should have heard the single.
Oh.
Contact.
Come on, Fat Boy Who? Come on.
Fat Boy Who? Yeah, I know. Yeah, all good. So, what else are we going to chat about? I'm excited about this tonight.
Well, I want to remind the folks who are watching us live, and Michael, most people watch our replay, but anyone who has a question, please put it in there and we will try to keep up with those. But Kellen, do you have a question? I don't want to, because I feel like I've been monopolizing here, but I've got all kinds of questions.
No, I just want to touch on some, like Phil just mentioned, 17-minute sprints. That was a huge part of your influence on me. And then I want to talk about Write That Book. So, those are the main things that I wanted to touch on. So, and is there another book in the future? That's my 3 questions.
Okay, well, let's do those in order. So, first of all,
Team 17.
Phil, just doing a 17-minute sprint there always lifts my heart when people do 17-minute sprints. And this was one, when you have one moment in your life, and because of that, everything kind of changes. Well, my one moment like that, one of many, I used to be a fundraiser, and I went over to America, and I went to New York, and I met a guy called Harold Evans, and it was on the day of the O.J. Simpson verdict. And I was in New York, staying in a hotel in Times Square, and I remember the whole of Times Square stopped, and everybody got out their cars, and they were watching on the big screens this O.J. Simpson verdict. And of course, the verdict came through. Everyone was either outraged or cheering, or it was split the nation. I know it was one of those things. And I went to see this guy, Harold Evans, and at that time he was head of Random House, one of the biggest publishers in the world. And it was a big corner office, like on a 48th floor or something like that. And I sat in his PA's little waiting area, and then suddenly there's a light flashed 3 times on her desk. He said, "Oh, Mr. Heppell, you can go in to see Harold now." Sir Harold Evans, actually. So I was all excited. And I walked past her desk, and she said, "One more thing." And I turned and she said, "You've got 17 minutes. And that's never happened to me before, and it's never happened since. It wasn't, "You've got 15 minutes. If you said you've got a quarter of an hour, that kind of goes, "Oh, that's interesting." Or he hasn't got long. But this guy was so organized. He was so brilliant with what he was doing in his life that my appointment was 17 minutes in his diary. And not an electronic diary, it was a handwritten diary. One of those ones. So anyway, I went in and he was on the phone and he pointed at his sofa. He said, I'll be with you one moment, just kind of all that sort of stuff. And then he said, listen, I've got somebody just walk into my office. This is really simple. Do we have a deal? It's a simple yes or no. Yes, good. Okay, we'll get it sorted out this afternoon. Thanks very much. Goodbye. Put the phone down. So I practiced my opening sentence, which was basically, we're about to have the only conversation in New York that isn't about the O.J. Simpson verdict. And so I came up with this line, and then he said, pointed at his phone, he said, "Do you know who that was?" I said, "No." He said, "That was Marsha Clark, the prosecutor, doing the book deal 1 hour after the verdict."
Wow.
Only in America, Michael. Only in America. And I was like, shit. Who am I with? Yeah, so 17. I talked about 17 minutes, using 17 minutes as a kind of whack on the side of the head to make you value time. And it's amazing what you can get done in 17 minutes. And when we started to talk about different things that we would do in lockdown, and I came up with Write That Book, and I had all these lovely people writing books, but I wasn't writing a book. And I thought, I haven't written a book for a few years. I should probably write a book. So sure enough, I thought, what do I really enjoy writing about? Could I write a book about 17-minute sprints? I thought, well, yeah, but it'd be about 3 pages because the idea is pretty simple. Then I'll be repeating it. But 17 is a number, and how you can use 17 in different ways, that could be interesting. So I wrote 17. And it was one of those things I had no idea if anybody would be interested. And we sold out in a day. And there will be a paperback probably later on this year. I am writing another book at the moment, and I'm writing a book called Write That Book. I'm going to write the book on how to write that book. Perfect. Because I've had maybe 2,500 people through pop-up groups. I've had about nearly 400 now through masterclasses. We've got about 70 books published now, but another 130 people in the pipeline about to publish their books. And I love helping people to have that moment of opening a box, taking out their book and going, I wrote that, and it's there forever. When you write a book, it's there forever. Isn't that great? I just love that idea that everything that's around these shelves here, I've had some of these books for 25, 30 years, and I still go back to them. And you can do that. You can use words to change lives. And
it's creating a legacy.
Oh, totally. And I don't know if you can see it on my T-shirt there what it says, but the words are, it's not the book you read that will change your life. It's the book you write. And that is so true. It changes your life. It makes you better at what you do for whatever you do for your job. If you write a book about that, even if you're writing a fiction book, it makes you a better communicator, you better choice of words. You inspire other people, you inspire yourself. A lot of people, they kind of do stuff like, oh, I didn't think I could run a marathon. A lot of people don't think they can write a book, and then they write a book, and then suddenly it's like, wow, I did it. I absolutely did it. So that's why I do Write That Book. It's superb. And we're doing it again in April. We're starting in April.
I heard about that. That's exciting. So this is going to be the 4th one?
5th one. Write That Book 5. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know. So it's so the first week in April, and if anybody wants to find out about it, then just either go to michaelheppell.com or go to writethatbook.co.uk, and you can pop your name.
Is it going to be a pop-up like you did in the beginning, a week of pop-up, and then you do the masterclass?
That's exactly how we're going to do it. We're going to do a 5-day pop. Actually, it'll be a 2-week pop-up, but there'll be 5-day challenge in the middle of that 2 weeks. And we've changed it a little bit. We've changed one of the days because listening to what our customers want, listen to what people are interested in. That's quite exciting. We've got some new people who we are interviewing. Just confirmed today, a major author in the UK, household name in the UK, very much a household name, and she's agreed to do a session with us about her book. She's written one book, she's got another one coming out soon. It's great. I love it. I absolutely love it. Other than standing on a stage in front of 5,000 people, this is the best thing.
A lot of our guests are authors or in the pipeline, as you say, for our UK experience week, for our month of the UK interviews. So
yeah,
I love it. I love having people on our show that's written a book that I know that they did it through your Write That Book masterclass. So
yeah, it's so cool. We're getting some questions about it, actually.
Yes.
What's Phil saying? It's helped me to accelerate and almost eliminate procrastination and to help me to get shit done. Phil, that makes my day. And I particularly like your next comment. Can we bring that up? It's the most expensive book I've bought, but like the most valuable. Do you know, it was an expensive book. It was £17 in the UK, but to post them around the world was expensive as well. So yeah, definitely. And
Brian had a question about self-published versus being published. Thoughts?
Well, Brian, my first 6 books were all published with Pearson, who are, the biggest publisher in the world. I've done really, really well for Pearson. Actually, my first 5 books. Then my 6th book was Hodder, another one of the biggest publishers, and my 7th book was self-published, because I cannot see the benefit of working with a publisher, you doing most of the work, because you will do most of the work, and then at the end of the day, they take the vast majority of the money. And you still, and they're not going to sign you unless you've built up a tribe of people anyway. They are, it sounds terrible because I've done really well with some publishers, and I did the deal I did for The Edge was fantastic. I think it was in the old days when they used to pay big advances to people who had a little bit of a track record, and they tried to effectively poach me from Pearson. But I tell you what, I cannot see me going with a publisher unless they offered me some extraordinary deal. I don't think they would for anything else that I do in the future.
There's also crowdfunding, which Richard did.
Yes, very
and
smart.
That was very
idea.
successful for him.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that we realize now is that the routes to market are vastly different to where they were even just 5 or 6 years ago. The print on demand. So this isn't just a case of sticking something in the Kindle store. This has been able to. We teach people in masterclass a formula, which is basically, get your idea sorted out, make sure you know exactly what you're going to do, make sure you write the book. So we have various things like accelerator weekends and show people accountability groups, that type of stuff. So you're going to get it done. But then when you know you're going to publish, we have a formula where you can self-publish and pre-fund all of the cost. And I don't know anybody else who's teaching it the way that we do, but it's one of those things where people are terrified. It's like, well, how much is it going to cost me? Am I going to end up with hundreds of books left in the garage and all that type of stuff? And you don't. You end up ordering just the right amount. You can make money with it, and then afterwards, later on, you can go and do your Amazon publishing. But you will have physical copies of a book in your hand with your name on at the end of it. That's the promise, and it's cool. And Kellen's got a book coming out soon.
I know. It's done. It's been edited. I'm just waiting for my illustrator to come off of maternity leave.
I know. I fancy her doing that.
I know. What was she thinking, having a child in the middle of my book?
In the middle of my book.
It's Sarah's illustrator who did the Flamingo Family.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah, the pictures, the drafts are brilliant. I'm just waiting for my finals.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I'm in your pipeline, really close to the end of it.
I know. Let's get over the line.
Yes.
Yay! Good stuff.
So
have I answered those questions, by the way?
that was it, because I wanted you to talk about Write That Book, Team 17. Now it's Michelle's turn.
Yeah, I should mention Team 17 actually, because off the back of 17 the book, we set up a membership group called Team 17, which is just the most incredible group of people you could ever imagine. They are, extraordinary. It's everyone joins with the same purpose, which is to help everybody else in the group. And because you have that, you end up with this group of like-minded people. So if somebody kind of says, "Hi, has anybody got a thought on?" It's just everyone dives in. And it's not just kind of a bit of advice in a Facebook group. People connect, they talk, they'll set things up, they'll offer help and support and advice, they'll use contacts, they'll use connections. And we've just been doing this challenge in the last week, the Make Me Happy challenge.
Happy challenge.
Yeah, and it was just this idea because we had such bad news last week in the world, and in Europe in particular, and I just thought people need to be reminded to make each other happy. So we did that. Some of the things that people have done, it's just glorious, like painting pictures and creating stuff and knitting things and making model stuff and sharing their favorite video, and it's just been joyful. It's really great. I love it. So that's Team 17.
It was so cool, I think, for Kellen and I both, because there are most of the folks in Team 17 are European based, but I think it was cool, for Kellen and I being here, to forge those relationships with people there.
Yeah.
And see the differences, but then the similarities, because I'd never spoken with anyone in England before. I don't know what I thought, but it's neat. I've got some really good friends that I communicate with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And Jane helped me pick out my bedspread. I mean, just fun stuff like that. Jane Cohen. So just things that I would not have expected. To come out of it. Aside from the business support and things that have helped me. That I knew going into it, things that would help me support the business aspect of my life, but just the friendship and the other, the home decor support, that was an added bonus.
Yeah.
Was not expecting that. But something, the massive action plans.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Michael, I actually, there's no reason for you to know this. I don't know that you do. I actually, and this is not a look at me story. This is a look at what I was inspired to do, because you gave me tools to channel my inner brilliance. Okay. I almost want to laugh when I say that, but through your massive action plan, the model, it's kind of a simple model. I launched a new division of my company.
Yeah.
That is incredibly successful, never been done before, and is thriving. And that started with the piece of paper that I got from you. It's just sitting down and doing a 17-minute deep think.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Every day for 17 days in a row.
Yeah.
And here we are.
But what's brilliant with that, Michelle, is that a lot of people, they talk about it, but they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this a lot, the secret isn't in the knowing, the secret's in the doing.
That's right.
And what you did with that is you put it out there. First of all, you told people what you were going to do, which made you instantly accountable. I've got to do this because I said I'm going to do it, which is great. I used to have this funny thing about sharing goals. Do you share goals with people? Lots of dream stealers out there, that type of thing.
Yeah.
My thing now is basically, if you tell people you're going to do it, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Which is great. And then the other thing, which was so cool to see you do, was just kind of, you were communicating as well about what you're doing. So doing the lives, doing the videos, putting it out there, telling people what you want to do. I think people kind of go, yeah, she's going to do this. Other people start to believe in you. You start to believe more in yourself. And then the next thing, there's so much momentum. You look back, 90 days of massive action. I've created a new division. Why not? Why not?
And the beauty of it is you can have a map or massive action plan to start a whole division or pick out a bedspread. I mean,
exactly.
It's the realm of possibility in that those 3 little letters.
Right.
Yeah.
The process, thinking it through is the same. The scale may be different.
Yeah.
Right.
But you still have to work through the process. And, Michael, you gave me that thought process. And, I don't know that's one of those things I think you helped me realize whether, as opposed to just saying, wow, I sure would like to do that one of these days,
Right.
because that's what I had done for years. I'd like to get into that one of these days.
Yeah.
But had never done it.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? Today's the day. Let's start. Let's do a deep think. And I don't know, talk about deep thinks. Where did you come up with that, Michael Heppell?
Well, I used to work with another personal development company before I started my own. And we had a guy there who joined us to work some weekends. We used to teach programs to kids. And I remember one day he said, I just need to really think about this. And he sat and he closed his eyes and he just really started to think. And often when people do that type of thing, after like 10 seconds, they go, yeah, I've got it. Anyway, he just sat for ages. I say a guy, he was like a bloke, not like a young kid or anything, just sat for ages. And then went, yeah, now I've got it. I said, what were you doing? He goes, I was just deep thinking. So we have different levels of thinking. And so often what we do is we just do this very shallow level of thinking. And when you're doing a shallow level of thinking, I said, so it's like meditation. He said, no, meditation, you want to slow your mind down. You want to get rid of thought. This is like exploring the thoughts. It's going deep with them. It's asking the question after the question. It's allowing scenarios to play out, but just doing that as a deep think and just see where it goes. And when we launched 17 as a pop-up, we did this deep think with, I think we had about 200 people who just sat for 17 minutes on a Zoom and just did nothing but think. And some people said, I found it, some people I was a bit uncomfortable or I didn't feel very good with it, had to turn my camera off. Other people were like, wow, I remembered stuff that I hadn't thought about for years. I came up with a new idea of how to do something. I thought about somebody who I wanted to connect with, and I've now connected with them because of doing that deep think. I answered a question I've been, that was an emotional question. I went deep and I explored it, and I've put it to bed now. So, yeah, so deep thinks are great. And 17 minutes is a nice length of time because, set a timer. It's quicker than you think. A lot of times people go, oh, was that 17 minutes?
Yeah.
And yeah, I like a 17-minute deep think now and then. Sometimes part of my 70 minutes, I might have a 5-minute cheeky nap as well. Oh, Phil, that's a great quote. Write for 17 minutes. You won't write 17 minutes of shit. That's to encourage people who think they can't write to just sit down and absolutely write for 17 minutes. And I bet you can't write for 17 minutes and write all shite. You have to write something good. There might be 15 minutes of it, that isn't particularly good. But
that 2 minutes could change the world.
There'll be gold in there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Michael, sorry. Teresa, how did you guys meet?
Well, George Henderson introduced me to you, Michael.
Yeah. So it was basically, we had, so Jeffrey Gittimer, who I think a lot of people know, where he started to do his live broadcasts when the whole lockdown thing started, and I was tuning in. And I've known Jeffrey for years. I used to have, when I was a speaker, I also had an events management company, and we produced an event for him in the UK. And he was like freaking out about what we were like, because our whole crew would dance. So all the techies and everybody, the music would come on and they'd be all there dancing. And everyone had a big smile and would welcome people into the room and all that type of thing. And he was like, you guys are the best I've ever worked with. Come to America. And we're like, no, we're just going to do our stuff here. And we stayed in touch after that. And, Jeffrey and I, our paths had crossed quite a few times. So from that, and then meeting people like George and various others, we just ended up, just chatting and getting to know each other. But you know what? The interesting thing with that question is about we meet because these three people who you see here have one thing in common. We put it out there. Mm-hmm. You've got to put it out there. Anybody who I ever meet who is well connected, it's not because they attracted it in. The law of attraction, I think, is just BS. People have to put it out there. They have to put the energy there. Mm-hmm. Both Kellen and Michelle, they message me, they send me nice stuff. Kellen sent me some brilliant cards that, wow, every time I look at them, my heart gets lifted. I remember her. It's that really special stuff. So that's how you build relationships. Mm-hmm. I think.
That's right.
You're right.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'd go with that, definitely.
So Brian had a question. Oh, wait, after that. So easy to build. Yes, it is definitely easier in this world today.
What a world we are in now. Do you know, it's crazy, but a few years ago, this idea of doing this type of stuff and doing shows where you can effectively have your own satellite broadcast and all that type of stuff, where's it going to go? Where will it be next? It's got to be augmented reality, doesn't it? It's got to be virtual. So you really got to feel like you're sat in a room with people. That's got to be the next stage. And isn't that exciting? Imagine that for me as a speaker who the thing I've missed most is not being on a stage and having that atmosphere. But could we recreate that in the next few years? I think so. Mm-hmm. I think we'll recreate that environment.
Right.
Are people in the UK enamored by American accents like we are enamored with the English accent?
We just are continuously fascinated about how you can't spell and how you mispronounce so many things. It's
like oregano?
Yeah, exactly like that. It's just it's hilarious. We just say, what is it? Two great companies separated by a common language. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
But I have a North of England accent, and people laugh about the way that I say something. It's like book is one thing, so it has 4 O's in the middle, book, and everybody else, in the South, they all say it's a book. No, it's not a book. That's BUCK. It's a book.
I have to tell you, when I first listened to, I have my hard copy of 17, and then I have my audio copy of 17. And the first time I listened to the audio, I have listened to the audio more times than I can even tell you. But there were several times that I have to go back because I wasn't sure. And it's funny, when we do the little breakout sessions in Team 17, frequently I am the only American in, the groups of, 4 or 5 people.
Right.
And I swear we are not speaking the same language. And usually, Des Reynolds, he's such a nice guy. He usually kind of plays translator. Everybody will say something and he'll say, now, Michelle, they said, so and so.
That's so good. That is so
Thank
good.
you, Des.
Oh, that is brilliant.
And I'm like, can y'all slow it down for me just a little bit? Because I y'all are talking on 78. I need 33, please.
Yeah, sometimes we do talk a little bit quick.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's fun though. And there's friendships that'll last forever from those breakout groups. That first breakout group that I was in Team 17. I talked to Fiona at least once a month, and Mike Hubbard and Dave, it's just, they're lifelong friends now.
Yeah. Definitely. Exciting.
Absolutely.
What's next on your list?
Any other questions there?
I haven't seen anything. Should we do the question?
Well, the funny thing is, there has been a comment about the question.
I didn't see that.
Well, no, not in the comment section. There's a comment by Mr. Heppell about the question. We have Michael, we've had the first guest that we had on our show in our premiere episode. Our first guest was Jen Gittimer. And I just asked her, just offhand, asked her a question, and it has just become a staple. We ask this question every episode, and you actually have written about this. And I know that you don't know that we're going to ask you, but you did say that it creates I can't read my own handwriting here in my notes. It makes for it's a momentarily magic feeling when you moisturize.
Oh yeah.
Okay? So I don't know if you remember saying that. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, well, it is, and it's important, isn't it? Moisturizing.
It is so important. And sometimes when we have gentlemen guests on the show, they scoff at that, and they shouldn't. Skincare is important. So we would like to ask you what moisturizer you use.
Well, if you'd asked me this before Christmas, I would have had a different answer. But for Christmas, my lovely daughter Sarah bought me this.
Oh,
that's pretty.
Creed, Green Irish Tweed, emulsion.
Okay.
So basically it's a lotion aftershave type thing. This is so good. Now, if you don't, do you know about Creed? Do you have Creed in America?
I am not familiar with that.
Okay, so Creed is it's a beautiful, beautiful range, but Green Irish Tweed is the one, and because it's become so popular, of course they've ramped the price up and shrank the bottles. But whenever I wear it, it always makes me feel brilliant, and it's the same aftershave that David Beckham wears. So it's kind of, if David Beckham wears it, it's got to be good. And everybody, it's one of those ones where whenever I wear it, people always comment. And I didn't know that they did a moisturizer. So Sarah bought this one for me for part of my Christmas present. And it's brilliant. And here's the thing, because I'm a typical bloke, on an evening, I'd be like, squirt, squirt, big handful, slop, slop, slop. Christine was like, stop, what are you doing? So I'm just about to put, she says, how much you putting on? I was like, just what I would normally do. And she's like, no, you just need a tiny bit of that. That is really, really super high quality. It's like, all right, okay. So I just put a little bit on, and it was like, one of those things just kind of lasts forever.
Yeah.
Just goes and goes and goes. It just does everything. It was like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that. And then it's starting to run down a bit. I thought I'll buy myself one. I had a look at how much it cost. I'm using that much now. It's just like I have a tiny bit on the end of my finger. Do the whole lot. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So Creed, Green Irish Tweed. It is absolutely fantastic. That is my moisturizer of choice.
Okay. So how much is that in what kind of money is that in?
American?
Oh yeah, that is the aftershave, the perfume. That's
how much money? I can't see that.
Go back to the 100 ml one. Yeah. Look at the crazy price for that now.
That's
insane.
US dollars?
That's US dollars, yeah. In the UK, it's about 290, 300 pounds for a bottle of it now.
Wow. Well, I'll bet you smell like heaven, Michael Heppell.
It's amazing.
David Beckham's just trying to be like you. We'll just say that.
I know. It's such a treat whenever I put it on. It can't be day-to-day aftershave for two reasons. One, if it was day-to-day, it doesn't have that special thing.
Right.
And also it's so expensive. you do have to make it feel like a treat, don't you?
What did you wear prior to Christmas?
Right.
Oh, this one. Well, I thought you might ask that, so I've got it ready.
So predictable.
It's this little thing here.
Now, what's that?
Hydrating face serum.
Okay.
And
hyaluronic acid. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really weird because I was trying to find the brand name, and I actually can't see the brand name. But this I don't know where Christine gets it from, but one of these just turns up every so often, and I would just put that on.
So is that what you're using now on off days, on days that are not quite as special?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, but it's the thing with the Creed stuff. There's the moisturizer, that's for only, but the aftershave or the perfume is unbelievable. Unreal.
Wow.
If you're ever somewhere where they do, the other thing is there's a couple of of the big department stores where they have these beautiful Creed stands, because this green Irish tweed is so expensive, it's hidden away. And I always say, excuse me, I've heard about green Irish tweed. Do you mind if I just try a little bit to see if my wife likes it? And they go, yeah, okay. And I get it, and I go, and they go, you need a little bit. I'm like, all right, sorry. I think that's going to last me 8 hours.
So you do that, and then you go ahead to your speech that you have to give.
Yeah, definitely. Or go and meet my wife or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, go on your date.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, I think that is the most sophisticated answer that we have had.
To date.
Absolutely. Wow.
Anytime.
That's some good stuff you're using there. But you should make every day special, Michael Heppell. You should.
I know. You should definitely do that. It's one of those things. It's in the job that I do, it's much easier to advise other people what they should do rather than always doing it yourself.
I understand.
So I have to have people who hold me to a higher standard. And I mentioned Christine before. She's probably the best at it. And then after that, Vanessa's brilliant. And, my kids are very good at it as well. Like my daughter would often say, Dad, I'm not on one of your courses. So I'll be trying to give her some advice about, I'm not on one of your courses. And I would say, well, you should be, because they're very, very expensive. And you're getting all this for free.
Yeah.
We used to have this big thing, and we would laugh, about it now.
You're right.
Yeah, when she was 15, she used to properly give it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, we promised to be respectful of your time, Michael, and you have just been such a joy to have. And we appreciate so much your spending time with us. We know it is Ella Grace's birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Ella Grace. Big 2 today.
Yeah, 2. I mean, by the way, I'm the grandfather, not the father, if you're wondering who Ella Grace is.
Okay, yes.
And it's isn't the moisturizer good? I'm the grandfather.
Yes, because as we've already discussed, you're 35 and you're a grandfather. So yes. Now, what does she call you?
Well, I thought I was going to be known as Grandpa, but I'm actually starting to be known as Papa.
Oh.
So, which is lovely, and I don't mind because you can't really plan what you're going to be called.
Oh, right. No. You can plan, but that you can plan all you want. But
exactly, yeah. So I'm getting called Papa, which is lovely, and she's proper. She's at that age where she just talks all the time. And not all of it makes sense, but it doesn't really matter. It's fine. All good. 2 is
just so special.
Yeah. Good age. Good age.
I know. I adore her and her little horse. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
So
thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you
really, I've loved it. I've loved every single second. And anybody who is watching, connect with me on whatever method you normally use for connection, for LinkedIn and all that type of stuff. And use me and ask me stuff and ask for help, and anything I can do, I'm there. A friend of Chelle and Kelle is a friend of Michael.
Absolutely. Michael is the real deal. He is absolutely the real deal.
The most brilliant person I know.
Absolutely.
Oh, bless you.
And share this with your friends.
Yeah. Don't stop. Great. Well, I'm off to bed. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here.
Yes,
Oh my
please,
goodness.
please, please. Thank you again so much. Thanks everyone for watching. And
thank you to our sponsors, Blue Sky Video Productions, Goodwin Graphics, Cards That Wow. Subscribe and share. Thanks, everybody.
We will see you next
Share.
week.
Bye.
Thanks, Michael. Bye-bye.